Welcome on in, everyone, to another episode of The Last Hit, the last episode of the spring regular season here in 2022. I am joined by Lyric, my constant co-host, and yet again, we have Dagda right back here for the final episode. Fellas, how are you doing?
Yeah, Dagda's here. That means it's a great week. Ox was here last week. That was also a great week. So every week is awesome. We should just have a 3-man episode. Dagda, Ox, Lyric.
Hey, mega episode coming soon. Dagda, checking in on you. We just got done casting the series tonight. How you feeling?
I'm good. The voice is taking a little bit of a strain because I've been doing the last 4 days in a row. So if I'm a little bit quiet or you hear me hit puberty halfway through this show, you'll understand why.
I can't wait. Make sure to call them out. Make sure to take all the clips. But we are here on the 11th of March during the games of week number 8, day number 5. And we're going to be just getting straight into it. Today is a special day, fellas. Today is a very, very special day, as it is an awards episode. Got to give away some LPL talent awards to give out for some players in the LPL themselves. But before we get to all the fun, all the glitz and glamour, the red carpet, all the wonders, we got to talk a little bit about the LPL, because this will be the last episode before we go into the playoffs. Tonight, JDG have locked in the 4th playoff berth for the LPL Spring Split, and in dominant fashion over TT.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad to see JDG coming back. I said on the broadcast today, and I think Munch, I had this conversation with Munch. I don't know if you feel the same way, Lyric. Like, JDG kind of have a little bit of a special place in my heart because they were the champions the first split we joined LPL. So you're always kind of like, come on, guys, like, you're the team. You're the ones.
Nostalgia factor too strong, man.
To see them kind of coming back together and really looking good in like how they have a kind of set identity. They're getting to play around Kanavi a little bit more with where he wants to go for these invades. And even when you see them fall behind, they're still just really good at finding these moments to like reset, get that little bit of a tempo advantage for themselves and take over the map once more. So it's kind of nice to see these guys coming back on top. It just feels like so long since we've seen it.
I feel like JDG has a special place in my heart, not only for like being the champions when we first started casting, but it's like too. I remember when we first came in, they by far had the best English social media manager like ever. Like
whoever they
like,
were
I don't know if they solved that person. Yeah, they were awesome. Would always interact with like all of us, everyone, the Western teams.
And we're just genuinely hilarious.
The fact that yeah, they were memeing left and right. It was great. But the fact that no one believed in JDG the split, another thing that's just like, man, that's super cool that succeeded. And I'm always going to be a fan of 369, the way he plays, his champion pool, his lack of care for his lane, his surround, everything. And heck, I mean, you guys, Rob even pointed out on cast today of like, if this was 369 on top esports, he wouldn't be going for like crazy team plays and things like this, but he's doing well. Heck, he was 0-5 on Graves. Still had a bounty, still won, still doing his thing.
That was so
still, man. Still taking 2v1s every single fight, pretty much. Like, no big deal in any aspect of that one. It is really, again, that nostalgia factor and seeing JDG come back and seeing, like, what we know JDG is good for in the past, seeing that kind of rear its face here in the later parts of the season itself. But I want to take a look at the rest of the standings, because we do have, unfortunately, two teams, not people, knocked out of the playoff contention. TT and WE are officially eliminated, but on the other side, we do still have V5, RNG, and Weibo Gaming all coming up clutch, and that's our 4 top playoff spots.
Look, first, I'm just going to start off and say, for WE, maybe a little bit of karma, because you look back, 2021 summer, they bring in this great player who is just coming off by being the best player by far on a terrible team called V5. I think they finished 12th in 2021 spring.
Is this the ode? And
you know what? They brought in Mole. Mole was kind of bad, but the whole team was bad. I watch those VODs a lot. And you know what? This is what happens, WE.
So why do you regularly go back and watch V5 VODs from did you just out yourself?
It's what puts him to sleep, Dagda, all right? It's what puts him to sleep.
Sometimes I go all the way back to 2019 and relive the good old days between Mole swapping between mid and top. 2020 spring as well, Mole swapping between every role. Ooh, those do it for me as well.
Jeez. All right. Well, you get a little bit of insight to the brain of one of the biggest brain color casters in the LPL. one of three. We also have the fact that, having that 9 mark for teams be that threshold for playoffs. We have a lot of teams that are right on the cusp of that, especially, you're still looking at EDGs particularly. LNG still needs to finish it off. BLG still needs to finish it off. It's a lot coming for all these teams and a lot still left to go, at least in the first little bit.
I'm not convinced by EDG. I'm just putting it out there. I think they had an easy run,
Yikes.
and now I'm looking at it like, you're sitting on 8. They just lost anyone's legend. They have BLG, LNG, and Rare Adams still to play. I'm like, do you hit 9? Like, genuinely? Like, I'm not convinced that they do.
Oh, man.
I think luckily for them that I'm sure the number's going to round out to being 8.
Yeah.
Heck, who knows? Maybe even 7, right? Like, I wouldn't be surprised if OMG FPX, like, they get that one win and then they lose their other series. So, but I'm with you. EDG is... It's even still so weird because I guess we'll get into this, like, later on in the episode, but, like, Viper's still so good.
Yeah.
Viper is still, potentially top 80 carry of the league.
Yeah.
I think Mako's still fine. Like... It's just so weird. I do think their top side is tragic right now. Flandre especially has not looked good all split long. I think JJ has been struggling. And I think the weirdest thing about EDG is their team fighting has just been so bad. And I know listening to like other casts coming from you guys that like things like the line and their team fighting from Worlds and all this stuff has been referenced so much. And we haven't seen that literally at all.
I actually have a theory with this. I think, because when you think back to like 2020, the time that EDG were most successful was, Mako and Engage supports and Mako kind of being that Engage tool. Other times you would see it be Flandre who was that big Engage tool. Now the compositions that we see oftentimes come through from EDG have JJ as the main Engage tool. And I think that's the thing that's breaking it. I just don't think JJ has the same mind as Mako does when it comes to how well he can set up these engages. Because there's a lot of times when I'm casting EDG, I just see JJ just full send it. He's just like, hey, I'm flying myself in, especially in things like the Hecarim. And then you kind of look back and you're like, well, Viper is still like 5 to 6 seconds behind you and can't actually get into this fight. So JJ ends up dying, EDG trying to rectify it, and they're just not able to. So I think part of that is kind of the way that they've set up their engages to begin with. But yeah, even then, like there was that clip against V5, game 1 against V5, where I'm watching Flandre in Meganar form for a solid 6-7 seconds. Oh no, sorry, not Meganar, Kennen, who has literally the Maelstrom ready. He's just pulling the trigger. He's maybe 3 feet away from 3 of the big carries on V5 and doesn't pull it. I'm just like, why are we not?
Stands there.
It's a 5v4.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense
as well.
I don't know why he's not using it. So yeah, it just feels like the communication's been really weird. Decision making's been really weird, and I just don't know. I don't know where they're slotting into.
I do also want to highlight the fact that they have lost a significant amount of their coaching staff, right? Kenju went over to RNG, and I know Kenju's someone that like people talk very highly of, players. Nelson used to work with him back on like LNG, was longtime coach of LNG and Snake. Corgi, another coach on EDG, someone I actually worked with. I have a ton of respect for, probably, best coach, if one of the best coaches I've ever worked with, like by far. This guy is so smart about the game, very social, like interacts with people well. He's moved over to PSG, so I don't know if like losing these key staff members is maybe a part of it as well, because that can
absolutely
shake things up. That could shake things up if the workflow has been different, but yeah, I don't know. EDG are just... Yeah, I don't know. I'm still not counting them out because it's still hilarious to look at the LPL standings right now and see the fact that, like, you look at the top 4 and their game differential is all plus 10 or higher. Then it's like you top esports are 5th. Theirs is plus 2. Then you go to EDG and theirs is plus 8. So it's kind of like, it's still kind of strange, but yeah, I don't know. Hopefully EDG can bring it back in best of 5. So again, even if they still do not win any series left in regular season, I still think they'll just make it playoffs because of that early run.
Yeah, it's more just like getting to 9 is the big issue for me. Like, I just don't... Because who was it? They have BLG still to play, which honestly I think BLG will punish them really badly if you engage terribly. Like, BLG's team fighting is pretty legit. When I look at LNG, maybe... I'm kind of just... I don't know.
I think EDG wins that one.
That game is just going to be an interesting one. And then honestly, I mean, Rare Adam... On a good day, Rare Adam could take him if EDG just aren't playing as well.
I mean, like, since the fact this is released in a few days, I don't care about saying this, but, like, right now, RA versus Ultra Prime is happening. Ultra Prime started off game 1, like, 7-0 or 7-1, and at that point, I kind of turned away from the game. I come back and Rare Adam somehow beat Ultra Prime, even though they were getting stomped. So
who knows, man? Who knows? It's the beauty of the LPL. You know, the circle keeps on turning here as well. But as is the circle keeps on turning, we got to keep on going here. The last tip, because we got to get all the standing stuff out of the way, get the regular season stuff out, because now we got to talk about awards. Let's roll out the red carpet. Let's get all the glitz and glam, photography on your left, media on your right, and we got to talk a little bit more about, our iteration of award systems here in the last hit and what we think, for each one of these situations. So we'll have a couple different conversations, but first off, I do want to talk more about most improved player of the split. And for me, it's really interesting because in the LPL, we have a ton of games. It's 7 days a week. Teams are playing like crazy 2 times a week. There's a lot of time for experimentation. There's a lot of time for growth, a lot of time for development. But who do you guys think deserves this award the most right now?
So I think there's a big conversation to be had about whether it's most improved within the split or whether it's most improved from last split to this split, right? Because if I'm looking at last split to this split, I think it's Hung for me. I think Hung has been absolutely monstrous just in how much he's improved. Sliding into FPX, he is nuts. Do not get me wrong. The guy is absolutely insane, but it's really good to see. And from what he was on Rare Adam into what he now is on FPX and the impact that he's had, by far and away most improved for me. But if you're coming back into actually looking at over the course of the split, I think that's where the conversation gets way more difficult, because I look at people like Rich, who came in, didn't have the best of laning phases, now an absolute monster for V5. Himself and Rookie are definitely putting the weight of V5 on their back in a lot of situations. I look at Missing as well. I think he's doing a lot better 369 in that conversation as well. I
think Ben had a rough first 2-3 weeks.
So let's separate that conversation then. So at first, I want to go ahead and give my big brain take, obviously the most analytical point of it all. I want to go to at least last year to this year performances and kind of highlight what you were talking about, because I think there's 2 obvious front runners, and for me it's the Shy and Rookie, right? They have looked like their former selves, and maybe I'm a little bit spicy on that one, but I do think that these guys have had such a resurgence in the split, and it comes with a little bit of a change in environment.
I think, I definitely agree both look better than last year. To me, Rookie was still good, right? Rookie just literally had the whole mysticism hanging over him of literally 1v9ing the year before. You know what I mean? So it's not like Rookie was playing bad last split at all. I still think Rookie was one of the better mids, still one of the best laning mids we had for sure.
Absolutely.
And on the Shy, man, I don't know. The Shy's so weird. I can't remember who it was. I think it was Ox talking, but I think I was listening to an Asheen and Ox cast where they were talking about, just inting sometimes to, lower the expectations on you. I don't think the Shy does that by any means, but it's that kind of joke kind of describes the Shy to me. The Shy's always been one of the best laning top laners. Even over the past 2 years, Splitsy was trolling, Splitsy wasn't. You watch any LPL top player interview, they're like, man, laning against the Shy is impossible. So even though I think both of them look better, I actually think there's other names that jump out to me.
Okay.
This one was hard. I actually have 3 names that jump out that I can't decide behind, but that's why it's okay, I thought I'd bring the 3 names to the table. We'd have a conversation and see, because 3 that jump out to me, 2 of them are on the same team, Betty and Forge. And Forge is only on this list because I honestly believe Forge was the worst mid laner by an ocean last year. My God, even on Forge champions, Forge was not good. He'd get his hands on his melee mids and his assassins, and then I'll still always bring it back to seeing him play. I believe it was Silas versus Irelia and getting solo killed 5 times by Scout. And it's man, just watching his laning phase, watching how he controlled the waves, played with jungle. I mean, heck, his jungle was ganking for him, and they were still losing. I think that was back when it was Vici, and I believe it was Ike's playing at the time. It's man, what are you doing? So Forge, I think, sure, he's still only playing Akali, LeBlanc, and these things well, but he's at least playing them well. Betty's a weird one for me. I kind of want to shy away from him, but I still think Betty's by far the best performing player in AL this split. He's a massive scare. He's actually I believe he's tied second in MVP votes, which is crazy to me. Yeah, he's tied second with rookie and scout, only behind Xiaohu. He's just absolutely murking everyone.
50-foot betting, man.
Giant team fight carry. But I think I'm leaning towards my last option, which is On. Because On,
true.
I mean, we all know how On was last year. My God, On was a dumpster fire. On was not good, pretty much by like any metric whatsoever. He had decent mechanics. I think mechanically now like super on point. And on everything other than Tom Kench, I think On looks amazing. Great engager. Not really playing for lane, right? He never has. Definitely playing more for the map. He's roaming more. I think me and you were talking about this the other week, Dagda, of like, sure, he's still not necessarily on the map like as much as someone like Sword Art was, but he's, helping enable SOFM. He's helping even get in the Shy's lane sometimes, which is super nice. And I think in team fights, when it comes to engaging, his Rakan has looked super good. His Thresh always been on point, but I think even more so this split. And yeah, I think On does it for me. To where like names like, I guess Rookie the Shine even going to Hung, I like those guys were always all right. I guess I took the angle of what players were absolute garbage and are now serviceable or good.
Yeah, it's the percentage increase, like.
Yeah.
There you go. That's all you need. If I throw in Kanavi into the last year to this year, does that do anything for you guys? Because I feel like he fits both conversations a little bit. But I do feel like it was a little bit of a change.
I feel like JDG was just so bad as a team.
Like, I don't feel like Kanavi's changed massively. Like, I still think he still paths the same. He still kind of ganks the same. He still does a lot of the same stuff. It's just that he's kind of, the small things he've changed is, hey, I've actually got a team that's willing to link up with me to do the thing I want to do. Like, if you look at, like, what the actual problems were for JDG in 2020 summer, it was, or 2021 summer, it was like, Kanavi has invaded on bot side to go and steal away the Krug camp. You have full push in bot lane, and Loken and Lumao are just looking at Kanavi die. Like, they are just standing in the lane, not even chipping away at the tower. They're just standing there as Kanavi dies in the enemy jungle. And you're like, why are you not helping him? Why is there no communication? This time around, you just seem to have the communication. So I don't think it's so much like Kanavi's massively changed. It's just that the team is willing to give him the support that he needs.
I also just really like 369 on this roster. I think especially once we even get to things like mid-game and team fights, the fact that 369 is always willing to pull the trigger, whether right or wrong, I think helps this team a lot from how they looked last year.
His cannon flanks
in 2020.
His TP cannon flanks.
Yeah, man, even again, it's kind of funny thinking back to, I think we've all seen the clip from the documentaries we got after Worlds, right? Top Esports, where it was Karsa just flaming the hell out of 369 for his Gragas. It's like, man, I think 369 has had some pretty solid Gragas games this split. Whichever team they 2-0'd last week.
V5.
I was watching the VOD. Yeah, V5. Came in, looked super strong, was doing well. Oh, it was LNG. It was LNG, actually. But, the V5 stomp. But the Trindamere Rek'Sai coming out from LNG, and then you see 369 Chad Gragas, like, amazing. I know, dude. I know, the Rek'Sai Trindamere. It's tragic. These are awards.
Yikes.
We should have turned to flaming teams. My God, LNG. I didn't like those drafts. I don't know what you were doing with those drafts. You just keep forcing team fights. It was bad, but 369 was on point with those guys.
369, yep. Yeah, yep. Positivity is key. All right, so we've had the conversation about last year to this year, but now I do want to open up the floor to this year in particular, and I'm going to throw mine on the floor immediately just because I feel so passionate about this guy and being able to see him come in and present himself in a way that you do see that growth and development over the year. Doggo. The beginning of the year, he had a tragic start. Coming in, not knowing what was going to happen, having Uzi on his back, and the fact that they are sticking with Doggo, when they are playing Doggo specifically. And who knows what the future may hold? Who knows? Uzi has been coming in occasionally. But the fact that Doggo was sticking his own in his first year in the LPL, coming into a new environment, this guy has improved so incredibly well. And being able to play as a part of the team is so crucial.
I can see that. I think Doggo's done.
That's it. Hey, speechless. That's it. I'm too good. I guess.
I don't know. I think. I always kind of knew that Doggo.
Good.
I think Doggo always kind of knew had a high. Like coming across from the LMS, the dude was absolutely insane. So I kind of expected Doggo once he settled in to do well. So I think that's why I'm not as like most improved. I think the most improved for me is Rich. Like, genuinely looking at this guy, I'm like, is he the best top laner that we now have in LPL? Because his laning phase was hot garbage when he first arrived. Didn't know what he was supposed to be doing. Half the times he'd end up coin flipping lane. He'd still end up dying to like Shanji's minus 137 CS or whatever it was, Shen jungle / river. So I don't know. I was not impressed by Rich. And then you look at their most recent games and he's stomping lane. He's absolutely insane in team fights. His Jace was nuts several times in being able to take down. And I don't even mean against like their last series against BLG. I mean like there have been several times in a row where Rich has just popped the hell off on the Jace pick. So
yeah.
I'm kind of looking at this guy going like, I don't know. I don't know. I want to get your opinion on this. Like, is he our best top laner at the moment? Because I can't think of anyone that I'd kind of go ahead of him right now.
I think I still lean a different way, which, you know, we're gonna do like our All-Star teams later, so I'll kind of save. But
a little foreshadowing.
I think Rich right now definitely top 3 in my book. I think it's so hard to like give definitives when the teams are so back and forth in terms of their series, but I mean, I think Rich looks solid. And when it comes to most improved in the split, I'll be honest, I'm gonna cop out. I don't really have an answer. I thought it was way more interesting. I thought it was way more interesting to go from last year to this year with how many players went from like being terrible to good. I think Rich is a solid one. There's no one else that jumps out to me. Even Bin, who I think had a slower start, like having 1 or 2 bad weeks doesn't really define it to me. To where like Dagda's right, Rich's laning, especially again, even in the first weeks, was just not it. To where now, I mean, the fact that Rich is a top 3 top laner in the LPL, especially after everything we heard about this guy coming from like the LCK casters, the LCK fans, like everything, we all truly believed this guy would be a side grade 2 invincible. And he's come in, he's murking everyone. So I'm all aboard the Rich hype train.
I just want to give a quick 2 shout-outs as well, because I think they've kind of been overlooked in the majority of this conversation. One is also on Victory 5. I think PP God has been pretty damn solid. I don't want to put him as most improved, because I think he still has a lot to improve on. But I certainly think from like the coin flip lane that we basically see every single time, I think he's looked a hell of a lot better. His team fights and engages have been pretty solid as well. So I kind of just want to give a shout out to PP God. I think he has definitely made some serious improvements this split. And also Missing. Not so much at the start of the split. I think he definitely needed to try and figure out a lot of his stuff. But the last few series, you can definitely see Missing starting to grow. And whenever he gets his hands on Thresh, it's just insane. But yeah, I mean, kind of.
He definitely looks way more comfortable.
That Tom Kench was scary,
He looks way more comfortable with Hope than he did with LCY, which is sad because I don't think LCY was a bad player by any means. But yeah, Hope, whatever Hope brought to this bot lane, I mean, you can tell Missing's feeling himself now, guys. He's got the swagger, got the he's got the mark pizzazz, you know, that look Mark always has when he comes on stage. That's what Missing has now.
Okay. Started the second game with a 3-man Abyssal Dive knockup at level 1. No big deal. Just walk off. Office, you know? Mic drop there. Yeah, another day at the office. I got a little bit of a curveball here for you guys because I, thought of it while we were talking, and I think it would be a really fun conversation. Because you know me, always positive. I came into the season very high on a couple players here, and I'm torn. So I'm just gonna say both of them. But I want the next little bit here, a couple minutes, one take from each of you guys. Who was a player at the beginning of the split that you guys were so high on? You're like, oh, this is the year. This is the one that's gonna bring it. Like he's gonna make a name for himself, and it didn't happen. I'm gonna start with my 2 because I can't choose between the 2, and it's the tale of junglers, and it's Shun and Shadow, because I have wanted to see these guys succeed forever and it just doesn't seem like it ever comes to fruition. LGD having a really, really rough time of it this split, and especially Shadow himself just finding himself caught out a lot of times, overextending, making plays with no teammates to really help him. And then Shun on the other side, you still see that aggression, you still see why. Like, I love this player so much, but the team composition is just not working out in its favor.
I mean, but
so those are my 2. I'm a little sad, little tear hide. If Shun and Shadow, if you ever happen to come across this episode, know that I believe in you, and I know that you can do it.
I still think Shun's totally fine, right? I mean, IG's a dumpster fire.
Yeah.
Because there's like a very obvious weird point of the map for IG that I don't feel like needs to be said because we all know what lane I'm talking about. But IG's a mess. I think Shun's still fine. Shadow, I think, has been a bit more underwhelming than last year. Still has some good moments and some good games. Underwhelming player, I feel like this one's kind of an easy one because you could just very easily look at EDG and say top or jungle. But I'll go a different route, and I'll say Fofo. I don't think Fofo's playing bad by any means, but I mean last year Fofo was heck.
He was popping off.
I think regular season Fofo was maybe the best mid laner in the LPL, and then once we got to playoffs, maybe falls third or fourth, but still, I mean Fofo was literally just destroying everyone in lane. I didn't care for his play style of literally just sit in lane, and again, RA's whole thing last year was we wait for Dragon to come up. If Dragon's not up, we do nothing. We do not take camps. We do not push into enemy jungle. No, we hold the line. We hold the defense. We wait for Dragon, and then Papa Fofo comes in. He's on Victor or Orianna or some other late game carry. He destroys everyone in like a 40-minute team fight. And you know what? That's an RA series. We haven't really seen that. He's had some good games. I know even though the Azir kind of tilted Ox, like I think Fofo had a good game on the Azir and like things along those lines. So Fofo, please start murking kids again so BLG can actually be good.
I kind of have. So one is from the start of the split. One is partway through the split. So I'm going to start with the second one.
Okay.
Don't say Mole. Don't let Mole be your partner through the split.
I actually did have the evil thought of saying that for a little while because I think he sucked.
I know. I felt it.
No, the one that I was really high on was Zika. I was.
You were his.
Yeah, I really liked
Zika.
I was like, this good dude's laning phase still is insane. Like he's still got the highest goal difference, I believe, out of any top laner. At 15, this dude, I was like, this is actually what IG need. Like, you've got a serious lane you can play around. You basically cover Yuikai's weakness, which is his laning phase, where now you can just play Roman. Don't care about your lane. Go help Zika. Like, it actually felt like IG had an identity. And then I got to, like, the second Tryndamere lock-in into Poppy. And I was like, oh no, what's happened?
Oh no.
And since then, I mean, with Mo coming into the team, they're now trying to play more team fight, and you're just seeing every weakness that Zika has come to light. Like,
I think it's so weird as well, because it's like, I mean, one of the reasons I always like Mole is because I always thought Mole was one of the most versatile mid laners in the league. So I don't know why they couldn't just keep playing the style around hard playing around top, just with having a mid laner who has a better laning phase. You know, it makes
that was
no
exactly
sense.
where my head was at. I was like, yeah, cool, you're just going to get the exact same, but with as you say, like someone who's just stronger in the lane won't automatically lose it. And even then, if you wanted to play team fights, well, now you have a strong mid laner that can, but they're not playing the same style. They're trying to play team fights with split push comps, and then...
they're like drafting like assassins and I don't know,
and then
it's weird.
And then I kind of come to the team fight, I'm like, there is no coordination here. Zik has launched himself in 5 seconds before anyone else gets there on a Tryndamere, and he's just been dealt with completely. Then eventually the rest of the team shows up. It's all over the joint. So yeah, I mean, Zika for me, because I was so high on him, I don't want to say he's the most underwhelming. I think he's just been one of the biggest disappointments for me because I really thought that this guy was going to be something special.
He was your true love.
He was my mole.
He was your true love. That was it.
Yeah, he was. I loved listening to you talk about it. It was so great.
You might want to go get that checked.
But yeah, then the other one, who everyone forgets about because he's not on the bloody team anymore, Zoom. Zoom's just gone.
Zoom
doesn't exist anymore.
Oh no.
Zoom. How many series did Zoom even play? 2? 3?
Yeah, it was not a huge amount.
Oh,
and
goodness gracious.
He did not look good. He really did not gel with top esports. They had no idea if they wanted to play around him. If they didn't want to play around him, how he's going to fit into team fights. And they're like, cool, real sorry for you, bud. Wayward's coming in.
Zoom played 5 series. Holy cow. I can't believe it's that many. He's been gone for so long.
That's what I mean. It's like this guy, he just...
Wow, that was a really good
Everyone
one.
just, whatever forgets that we happened with Zoom,
forgets.
But yeah, dude's just out of there.
Man, that's tragic. That's tragic.
Well, that's unfortunate. That is very unfortunate.
Guy goes from being the best top leader in LPL to now not even
as a substitute.
How far they've come. how far they've come. It is an interesting. I just wanted to get that out of you guys because you know me. I always like to focus on some of the potential bright spots that maybe didn't pan out as well. But next conversation we gotta have is an interesting one, as the way that LPL classifies their rookies. But we have rookie of the split to give away here between us at least, and maybe if we get impact from the other guys. But it is literally us. We're gonna give it away. We're gonna decide it. I want to know who your guys' choices are because mine, obviously, we talked about them already so much, and I don't think there's anybody else that really deserves it unless we got a full season of care. But Rich has to be the front runner for Rookie of the Split for me.
Nope.
Secondary,
Nope.
I would say
Nope.
Strive
Nope.
is actually my secondary.
No.
All right,
No. Look,
what do you have, Lyric?
I'm sure Dagda's gonna talk about it now, but the fact that these guys count as rookies, I don't care. I don't care what the LPL rules are because you know what? These are not the LPL awards. These are the last hit awards.
All right, these are the caster
These are not
awards.
the official awards. I mean, again, even the LPL would come out and say that.
All right, fine,
But,
fine.
In my mind, I'm not counting those guys. You guys want to give those guys MVPs? Cool. Rich Gore. Okay, no one was going to mention Corey anyway.
I was about to say, did you start that? Did you start that word? I don't know if you wanted to. Take that one back.
These guys, not rookies. I'm sorry, but I feel like that'd be too easy, because then it's like, okay, Rich gets it, and it's whatever. So I'm just gonna come out and I'm gonna throw a curveball because I think when you look at the list, I think Strive is an obvious name that jumps out at you. I even think maybe an under the radar name, but someone who maybe deserves it is Shalahu. But my rookie of the split is Wayward. I absolutely love what this guy's brought to top esports. I feel like individually, he's probably not the best rookie we have just in terms of like his individual play, but like what he brought to TES, I feel like is so important and so cool because it's kind of hilarious to me that he's kind of like a mix of 369 and Zoom, in my opinion, of like he plays lane super aggressive, always in the enemy's face, like under turret. I wish we had forward percentage stats in the LPL, at least like correct ones, because I'm sure it's like 70% plus, but he also moves. He also like roams towards mid.
Yeah.
He'll like shadow around mid lane a lot, even just like walk halfway up river to, make the enemy back off, give Knight prio. I've seen him invade the enemy jungle with Tien so many times, which is obviously something that 369 would never do back in the day with Karsa. Constantly looking for team fights. He's willing to play engage. He plays split push. I feel like this guy does it all, which is hilarious because it's a player that had no hype around him. From people I know who did watch the LDL, they said, yeah, this guy was just kind of mediocre. He had some good moments, he had some bad moments, and he's just kind of a late bloomer with how well he's doing in the LPL, and I think how well he's enabling top esports. So I think Wayward's been super fun to watch. He's made TS good, and I just wanted to be a little bit spicy. So Wayward,
I like the spice.
Good.
If Care got more time, I'll just give my last little take. If Care got more time, he would get it, but unfortunately, he only has like a week.
Care's played what, like 2 series? They were good, good point. But then again, I just want to give like the side respect to Shalahu because I mean FPX are just I don't know. FPX didn't play around him at all this split. They kind of left him on his own little island. He's had ups and downs, right? He's solo killed some matches. I believe he's solo killed Ben, if I remember correctly. You see, we have too many games in the LPL.
You know what? I was going to say, Dagda,
you said I'm trying.
Well, you didn't let me finish my point, Mazel.
No, exactly, because you can't find your information.
It's okay.
It's fine. It's fine.
You know what? I don't want to talk anymore. Mazel ruined it. Mazel, you're not invited to next week's episode.
Yes!
You're not.
I get a win! I get a win!
You are not invited to next week's episode.
Oh.
It's the playoff episode.
Well, that's unfortunate. That's unfortunate because I'm the host. So that's going to work out. This is going to be a fun episode.
They would just sit there kind of go, someone's going to ask a question at some stage, right? Someone's going to do something.
You're all just staring at the camera.
I mean, look, you hit on Strive. You hit on Wayward. I'm going to hit on the one that kind of Lyric said a little bit under the radar. I think Shalahu. I think this guy's done really well. Especially coming in. This was actually the guy that I think.
Thank you, Dagda.
I think this is the guy where I really wanted. He has done a huge amount with very little at FPX, and I think coming in, and the fact that he was able to get, he's not always getting super far ahead in lane, but the fact he's been able to absorb so much pressure, do a huge amount with it, and also then when he has the opportunities to find these big moments to pop off, I've just been really impressed with him. I think Shalahu has been absolutely stellar, and again. he gets so little attention. But when you look at the impact he's able to have, I think he's like, actually, hang on, I had it open here because I actually looked this up for this exact moment. Shelahu has 27% of that team's damage. He is the third most damage of any top laner in the league. And then you look at, like, he gets basically no resources. He still comes out with a 130 gold lead. Like, the guy's nuts. Like, I think this guy is going to be one of the next big names that we look at in top laners. And when you only think, like, this is his first year, it's nuts. And I think people would look at him as, like, a clear favorite if FPX were still winning. If FPX still had the, like, non-Baron flips. I think then we'd actually be having a very, like, he would be like, yeah, clear, far and away, this is the guy.
He'd be the obvious choice.
But it's just, I think it's just because FPX are kind of down in the dumps that it's easy to kind of overlook him. But I think Shelahu's an absolute monster.
And I also just love the fact that he's, like, embraced the role of being a true carry, right? He almost plays like no... I mean, his champs are like Graves, Jace. He's one of the top laners playing a bunch of Camille still. I also believe he solo killed Allah as well. Sorry, I'm just, Mazel, point is, you cut me off talking about Shelahu. Dagda's on my side. Dagda on my back.
See, I just knew that he was going to back you up, so I just wanted to stop your foolishness in its tracks and make sure that your point got out. That everybody
in a more intelligible way as well.
Exactly. I guys, see, we're all teamwork here, baby. That's all we're about here in the LPL. Talking about teamwork, though, that perfect segue. Thank you, Mazel. LPL All-Star Team here will be chosen by us. And we will go ahead and work down. I love that I broke Dagda. We'll break down all 5 roles here for the LPL. I do want to just say that this is going to be a fun little segment where we kind of build our all-star team as a caster trio, I guess, here, and see who we come out with. And I want to start with none other than top lane. Obviously, I'm not the big brain analytical person, so I'll just throw my emotional take in after you guys break down the actual. Can we actually just get mid and AD carry out of the way? Because I
feel like we're all going to agree, and then we can actually discuss things.
Yeah.
Okay, so Rookie and
Go
Viper.
ahead. What you got?
Whoa. I actually disagree.
Yikes!
Disagree. I actually surprisingly disagree. I really want to give it to Rookie.
I know where you're going. You're going
this episode.
Is this?
Yeah.
What?
No, I'm going Xiaohu. Xiaohu.
Okay, fair. Okay.
Yeah, so
that makes sense.
I stared at him like, man, I want to give it to Rookie so bad. I just love Rookie so much, but
that's why I'm really surprised. I was like, yeah.
I just feel like Xiaohu. I feel like Xiaohu like kind of hits both of the generic boxes that people usually go with towards these types of votes. That I feel like Xiaohu has not only been the best mid laner consistently, I also feel like Xiaohu. If Xiaohu's not an RNG's a dumpster fire. Like I guess V5's the same for Rookie, though, to be fair, right? So, but, man, like, I even, like, across the stats, like, 3rd in solo kills, I think 2nd or 1st in damage percent, super proactive with kill participation, high in, like, 1st turret, everything, 2nd highest champions played. Funny enough, I think he's behind Rookie in a lot of these stats. But I think best Vex player in the league. He started to pop off on champions that hasn't played in a while, LeBlanc. The fact that we also know he's a shot caller, the captain, like, just
that's what I was going to say.
Everything about Xiaohu has just been so well, especially as, again, Bin wasn't playing all at the start of split. Gala and Ming were only playing Nautilus, Jinx literally every game. I think Wei's fallen off. Like, everything revolves around this guy, and it's just so crazy that he can have the career year in top, come back to mid, where everyone was berating this guy in 2020. And he's just styling on everyone once again. So
I 100% agree with you. But the way I look at it is like, Xiao is like a Formula 1 driver. Where I go in and like, I know this guy is incredibly technical. He's thinking like several steps ahead about how he wants to maneuver, how he wants to approach a corner, how he wants to do everything. And that looks beautiful. And there are a lot of people who appreciate that. I don't watch Formula 1. I watch movies with stunt drivers though, and if I want to see some really cool stuff happen, I am going to look at Rookie. If I want to see the man who's going to like rock up, do a barrel roll in a car, it's going to like skid to a perfect halt, slide line, parallel parking between 2 cars, and the door just opens, the car blows up behind him. That's Rookie, and that's what I want from my mid laner.
So look, the way I see it, Mazel, just to tangent this. First of all, I don't want to pick. Like, the more we talk about this, the more...
I'm picking. Don't worry about it. I'm picking.
The way I see it, right, Xiaohu is like in the Matrix. Time slows down. He's dodging things. It's beautiful. There's finesse. Rookie is killing people with a spork. The audience won't understand. The three of us understand.
No, I'm not even going into that right now. I do want to say, though, I think there is maybe a little bit of difference in the way we can approach this, though, because I think there were very many telling things in both your guys' arguments, conversations, right? The fact that Rookie is, the playmaking, trying to go out of his way to show stop the games. Xiaohu is that integral part, the general, making sure the show goes on. For me, that's more, for at least in my eyes, Xiaohu, that conversation, the strengths that we were talking about for Xiaohu, that is more of representative of an MVP award, more so than an all-team, all-star award. Because when you're looking for all-star, all-team, you want crazy. You want the person that's going to blow the competition out of the water in every single way. And I think Rookie does take that.
When I look at the last two series that I've seen from, as I hit my mic, on for V5, I saw that Oriana play for Rookie, where he flashes over the Nautilus hook, he dodges away from the bubble, he then gets the double kill with the shockwave. I was like, that was nasty. Mazel, I sent you a clip this morning that I've been gushing over for the last 2 days about Rookie, which is that one against BLG. It's the fight down where they've already taken the inhibitor. You've got the flank coming in from Breathe on the Camille, where he's TP'd in behind them. And I look at Rookie, and Rookie charges it. He's got maybe a quarter of his HP left. He charges forward in the Ahri. He gets a ton of damage off, kills someone. And then, instead of what everyone else would do is like flashing over the wall, he just barely manages to ult ahead of the Ezreal ult, which does just enough damage to Uzi. So then when he flashes over the wall at the perfect moment from the Ezreal ult, Rich has enough damage to finish off Uzi and then win the team fight. If you weren't able to play right on that knife's edge there as Rookie, I think Uzi carries that fight. He hits Triumph. He gets the kill onto Rookie. Rookie dies. He's done. Rich can't carry the fight. Or you don't get the damage that Rich can one-shot Uzi, and Uzi's actually able to win that fight. Like, there was a literal knife's edge that fight was on. And do not get me wrong, Xiaohu 100% has carried fights, but I haven't seen him make the, one play that 100% without fail, was the difference maker. That inch of a game moment. That's the difference.
I mean, Mazel's already decided. So
I've already decided. Yeah, it's Rookie all day, baby. He's our all-star mid here. We'll bring Xiaohu back in the MVP conversation. Why are we even doing an
award show if it's just Mazel picks the awards? I'm just no.
Because I control everything. I'm the puppet master.
On a very quick
note, anyways, you gave me these powers, Lyric.
Also deserves to be in that conversation because that dude has actually been.
I agree.
If you're looking at
he
teams that would fall apart without someone. Top esports without Nisus,
So, I mean, if we were doing a first, second, third team, right, I feel like in this kind of situation, it would be Rookie, Xiaohu, and then Knight as the third to round it out. So we'll give them their
that nobody argue Viper
spaces. So we got our mid lane. Yeah. So I was going to say, we got to go to the second part that this whole conversation started at, Dagda presenting Viper. And do you have any other thoughts, Lyric?
Man, Viper's by far the best AD carry in the league. It's not even close. It's not even close.
Nope.
My God, this man is still so insane. Even with EDG playing bad, and I do think, Viper has been affected by that. I think in recent series he's been playing a bit worse. I think even with Viper playing a bit worse, he's still outshining literally everyone. I mean, the Aphelios play, man. The Aphelios play. I think, oh my God, I think that's the highlight of the season for him, which is crazy because all he does is press R, but
that's all. But it doesn't matter.
The fact that EDG funneled them into that choke, he realizes the right moment. I believe Gale forces it closer to the wall, throws out the ult, and you're just like, my God, man. The fact that you saw that one window, had you waited a second longer or it had been a second too soon, that wouldn't have worked, and it did. It's insane. In lane,
that's why he's a world champion.
In lane, they're still good. They have obviously been punished. I believe top esports spot lane punished, right? The Ezreal Karma, or it was Caitlyn Karma, and they just kept getting hooked. But still, this guy's every part of his gameplay. His laning's great. His team fighting's amazing. His awareness of where to be on the map. Even with people like Flandre not going in team fights, or people like Jeje going in too soon, I still feel like Viper's in a place where he's putting off as much damage as humanly possible and still outpacing the enemy AD carry.
Oh, hey, speaking of AD carry, we've got our two already. Rookie and Viper will be our first two all teams here. But now let's look at support, the joiner of Viper. Who do we want to bring in on this legendary squad of 2022 Spring Split? What do you guys got?
I'm going to need you to go there because I actually couldn't make this one. I couldn't figure it out.
So, right, I think it's lucky we're doing this towards the end of the split because I think early on, I don't know if I would have been able to say this, but I think it still goes to Ming. I think especially in the recent weeks,
Really?
Ming has looked a lot better. I think Ming's faults are the same faults as last year. And again, RNG, I think, has just struggled more as a team. I think in lane, Ming goes for, to hit on some weaknesses, right? Ming goes for some questionable engages. 2v2, they can lose out and kind of just flip it and throw it away. But he's been impacting the top side of the map a lot more. I think that's another reason why Bin has been looking a lot better in recent weeks because Ming has been roaming top more. I think Ming has also put a lot of attention on mid, which kind of surprises me because that wasn't something Ming did a whole lot last year in terms of linking up with Krine or trying to help Krine reset his waves. And then in team fights, I still think Ming finds some of the most clutch engages ever. And to be fair, most of the time it is still on Nautilus. Still hasn't really gone too far past that Nautilus champion pool. But when I look at other supports in the league and who jumps out to me, it's Hung has the spirit of the warrior, but it's still right. It's still too
you're
flippy.
wrong.
I think Crisp has also looked very good.
Yeah. That was the break for
You're
me.
wrong.
Was Crisp.
No, Dagda.
I basically.
Yeah, it was between Crisp and
but I
Ming
think
for me.
Ming has more.
No, it's all about you guys are all wrong. It's Chocho. Stop. The conversation stops at Chocho.
How do we mute
Come
it?
on.
How do we just?
I don't know. You know what's crazy? I believe I'm probably genuinely the biggest Chocho fan there is on our team. Chocho would be on my lyric team. I love Chocho. Chocho's great.
Sorry,
But
the way you pulled up, I thought you were meant to reveal a Chocho tattoo or something. I thought that's what
it was. Yeah, I was like, dang.
The Chocho tattoo's in a place that can't be revealed on camera. But man, I love Chocho, but I don't think Chocho has outpaced Crisp or Ming. Again, I think Ming, if I look in isolation, is probably the best support right now. And I think Crisp kind of has what we said about Rookie Knight and Shahu, that man, I think Crisp holds BLG together.
Yeah.
I think without Crisp, BLG's a bit of a dumpster fire.
I kind of want to give it to Crisp because I know he's doing his best. And it feels like BLG don't want to do anything in the early stages. So I'm like the difference maker for me is how Ming impacts the state of the game early. BLG don't want to impact the state of the game early. So no matter how much Crisp would like to do something, you can see him roam mid, you can see him try and do stuff, and BLG are just what are you doing? This is no, you're in the wrong. Your lane's down there. Go down there. That's it's not. I don't know. That's where it's kind of hard for me. I would like to give it to Crisp, but it just feels like BLG don't want to let him be the MVP in the bot lane that he could be.
I do gotta say though, the fact that Crisp and Ming have literally been, and we'll have Mako in there as well, but Crisp, Ming, Mako have just been the three names every year. Literally every year, they're the conversation.
Literally
is just so crazy.
That's the thing.
So
it's
amazing.
just I see fresh new top lane talent coming through, Wayward. We got Shellahu, and I'm just oh yeah, we're gonna be sorted. And then I kind of look at the bot lane and support talent that is kind of coming through. I'm just there's nothing. Yeah, these guys are just going to continue to be top dogs for a while. And even when you see Uzi coming back in and he's had some missteps and stuff like that, but still I think looking kind of top 4, top 3, 80 carry in the league. There's just not a huge amount of improvement that I've kind of seen in that bottom row from a lot of the rookies that have stepped in there.
No, and you just even look at our support pool of obviously Joel got subbed out. Mark is coming in. I think Mark looks solid. Southwind, Xiaoxi, Jinzhao, Cold, Yu Yanja. The fact that Yu Yanja and RA is working out, I think, is very telling.
But I will say, if you put these players anywhere else, right, they are still top class, right? That is the fact of the LPL is our support, the top of the table supports are just that much better. I feel like because I still find so many great supports at least in the averaging team.
Well, but I feel like it's comparatively, right? If we're comparing to the rest of the world, we're talking about LEC and LCS and all this. Sure, our middle of the pack supports are better than their middle of the pack supports.
Well,
but
this is very I wouldn't compare them to Hylissang. I think Hylissang would absolutely body pretty much all of them. I think Mickey would still have a good time against them. Kaiser is still an incredible. Just looking at LEC alone.
Even looking at NA,
Trimby
Core
is
JJ.
a beast. I'd put these guys all pretty much ahead of Yu Yanja and some of these guys. So
okay,
I don't know.
Missing
Lucas. Honestly, I think our support pool is probably one of the weakest that we have. I think when you enter in the conversation of like Ming,
Absolutely,
Mako,
yeah.
Crisp, then we've got a comparison that we can make, right? But until then,
I mean, like, to go back, I mean, the fact is, Chocho is one of our best supports in the league right now. And I think that is actually very telling of, like, the state of support. Which, again, I think Chocho's, like, solid. He's good right now. But, yeah, I think... and I've thought this since I've come into the LPL that bot lane is not in LPL these past few years what it was, you know, what you'd hear of in, like, 2013, 14, 15, right? It's still strong, but I think it's nowhere near our top half of the map.
Absolutely not. And so I do want to round out the support conversation for our all team. It is going to be Ming. I've decided, obviously, you guys were very passionate about it. I didn't have any other choice. Although Chris was a good conversation. I think probably, obviously, second team. And then maybe Mako's third. And we'll just keep it like that. But the fact that we already have Rookie, Viper, and Mean locked in for our all team, let's go ahead and focus on up to the top lane. Because I feel like Jungle needs to be the last conversation because there's so many different ways we could go with it. But let's go ahead and look at top lane.
hit me
this
with the spice.
obviously-
Hit me with the spice.
I was I don't think it's that spicy, but I'm still gonna say I think the best top laner. I think my all-star top laner has to be the Shy.
Yeah.
I think the Shy has done so much for Weibo that it blows my mind. I thought this team would not work at all. Like, in what universe does putting someone who is so selfish on a team with SOFM work out? On a team where, again, coming to the split, we thought on doesn't do anything, all this stuff, but man, the Shy is not only kept up with his laning prowess. I don't have stats up. I'm sure I could look at them, but last time I checked, was top in terms of damage percent. Still one of the best laners in LPL. I know Dagda's looking at it right now, so he's going to be able to confirm for us. So I am not just chatting BS.
Let me see.
But,
damage percent. It is the Shy who's in first with 27.8%. So to give you the stats, CSD of 15 on average is 11. He is third in the league. But this also includes subs, so it kind of gets a little bit funky when you start to look at some of the numbers for where they're positioned. But 11 CSD of 15 on average. He's got 390 goal difference on average, so again third in the league. And as you're saying, the most damage percent in the league, which is kind of insane.
Yeah.
And the fact that he's also, again, he's literally been right all along. And all the interviews of him saying he can play tanks, he can play for the team. We're all crazy. We don't know what we're talking about. He was right. He's enabling Weibo. He's doing great in team fights. He's playing for SOFM.
Literally.
It just blows my mind how much of an impact that he's had on the league this split as comparatively before. Because I don't necessarily feel like the Shy's better. I don't think he's playing better than last year.
Just unlocked.
Yeah, I feel like things have just kind of gelled with Weibo. And I think it goes to the point of, again, I don't believe players just get better or worse. I think being in an environment where the Shy's not comfortable, it has to actually try and put effort in, has helped him so much. So I do think this one is a close one in my mind between Rich and the Shy. And I think if Bin didn't have a slow start to the split, I think Bin would probably be my third in line for the conversation. But I definitely lean towards the Shy.
I am going to lean towards Rich, and I'm going to tell you why. Because I live by a simple rule that all the LPL does. It's bigger number, better person. And when you look at the solo kills that the Shy has,
results-based analysis,
the Shy only has 11 solo kills.
I like it.
But if you look at the person who has the most solo kills at the moment, it's Rich with 15. And he is a bigger number, therefore he is a better person. And look, I genuinely think that this is it's just such a good turnaround from Rich. And the thing is, we look at how we started off the split. The guy's laning phase was atrocious. And I genuinely believe, and I'm not going to take credit for this statement, I can't remember who said it, but they're when you join the LPL and you look at the talent we have in topside, you need to get better at top lane. And I genuinely think coming across from the LCK into the LPL has helped massively with Rich's laning phase, because don't forget he was a HOTS player. Laning didn't really matter a huge amount.
He did solo kill the Shy.
Yeah, he did solo kill the Shy. But this guy has now grown so substantially to the point where I'm just it was the rookie show. That we actually had conversations in story meetings going man, I'm sick of V5 because I love casting them, but trying to come up with a storyline that isn't rookie Karsa is really frustrating because all you end up doing is just talking about these two. And then Rich just started to get better and better and better. And now it really does feel if this guy continues on this trajectory even slightly, there's no doubt he's going to be an absolute beast. He's going to be the far and away the best top runner that we have in the LPL. But yeah, I think he's just been insane.
See, the argument I have is I already gave him rookie of the split. I don't care about you guys. Again, I'm in control, so we're not going to give him all team. In all actuality, it is a really interesting conversation to have, but I think it's more so in the realm of the Shy to be the all team for this one, because I do see the development of Rich, but the Shy, as we were kind of saying, has just come back into his own form, and I think that's so telling. And you can't pass up an opportunity to see the brothers split ways. I was trying to make this point earlier, but you guys didn't want to listen to me. The brothers split ways in Rookie and the Shy, but then come back together on the All-Pro team, because the fact that they have both separated, they both have found a home.
Typical play-by-play.
That
only
that
picking
makes
for
them
narratives.
successful.
Only picking for narratives.
Come on, man. Like, it is actually so incredible. It literally makes my heart happy to see both these guys performing so well in their respective teams, although not together.
I mean, the thing that's just crazy is how hard all of these are, right? Again, like, I feel no qualms giving this to Rich or the Shy. I feel no qualms about, like, Mid being, like, Knight, Xiao, who, like, just so many of these are just like, my God, dude, these guys are just all too good.
Like, I was over in LEC, was sitting there talking to Medic, and Medic was like, Video's such a beast, he's an absolute monster. And don't get me wrong, Video is insanely good. But I also realized, because I was looking, I was like, this isn't, like, this is still very good, but it's not, like, insane. It's not crazy. And this was, like, the MVP performer. And then I just realized, I'm just spoiled. I just looked, I looked at the guys that we had in the LPL. I was like, cool, let me look at our top 6. Rookie, Xiaohu, Doomby. Oh, yeah, cool. There's 3 world champions right there. Oh, and sorry, just in case we needed something else, we got, like, who was it at the time? It was, like, our MSI... Oh, sorry, Xiao was the MSI champion when he played mid lane as well. I was looking at Weibo, who went to the World Finals. An Angel. You had Fofo, who was in the top of the list, who was better than all these in 2021 summer. Like, our top, like, mid laners are just nuts. Like, it's not even
They're killers.
fair.
They are absolute killers.
And then I was like,
are.
okay, no,
They
this is
absolutely
actually
are.
just, I'm being a dickhead. This is actually, I need to bring down my expectations here. Like,
You need to lower the bar, all right? Come on. You gotta cut all the
and
other
then I
regions
actually
some
was like,
slack.
well, he hasn't
We're
really
just the one
1v9,
above.
and then he 1v9 G2, so I was like, all right, okay, well.
Yikes. Well, we have one last position to fill, as we already have the Shy in top lane, Rookie in mid lane, Viper in the bottom lane, Ming as support. I feel like the hardest conversation, because we have so many damn good junglers, is the jungle position. I'm just going to throw mine out of the right way. No, I don't care what you're going to say, Lyric, because I said this so many times, it's probably going to come back to bite me. But the fact that you can put Karsa and Rookie together, the fact that these guys have been playing so well together, it has to go to Karsa. The guy is insane.
I actually disagree with your first statement that we've I actually feel like our jungle pool right now is not performing well at all.
I think our
Really? Come on! What?
And in my
On paper. I'm
actually really interested to hear what yours is, Dagda, because I am torn right now between 2 names. Sorry, Mazel. Karsa surprisingly is not one of them. I think one of these names will be decently surprising.
You just put Rookie and Karsa together, it's always going to come up
I think right now I'm torn between... Again, if I'm looking at who are the best performing junglers right now, there's 2 names that come to my mind. Kanavi and Lil Yen, surprisingly. I actually think Kanavi and Lil Yen are the best performing junglers in LPL. I still think Karsa's playing very well, but I don't know, man. I actually don't think Karsa's even playing as well as he was on top esports in 2020. Like,
really?
I think a lot of it's due to V5's playstyle. I think V5's playstyle is just very all over the place. Yeah. It is very, like, pick-oriented.
Scrappy.
Exactly. It's very scrappy. It's not... Like, everyone is finding their own action. Like, the bot lane will be fighting by themselves. Rich will be getting his own kills. Rookie will be getting his own kills. Like, obviously, Karsa does enable a lot of it, especially with how much he plays around mid. Like, my God, again, Karsa is just around mid so much, it blows my mind. But I feel like Lil Yen is the sole reason RA are a good team. And, like, that, like, Strive's fine. I think Cube's been good. Like, all this stuff. But, man, I feel like I've seen Lil Yen out-jungle almost everyone this split in terms of pathing, like, invading their jungle, taking away their camps. My biggest problem with Lil Yen always was the fact that whenever Lil Yen comes onto Summoner's Rift, he literally makes the game just like a farm simulator. He's playing like a solo RPG. He's not interacting with anyone, like if you think back to RA last year. But I think Lil Yen's played a lot more aggressive. I think you can even see that in the champions. He's been picking right. He's been playing like Rek'Sai this split and things along those lines. He's talked about in interviews like, hey, I want to play more aggressive, want to be more involved in my lanes. I think his team fighting has been kind of second to none this split. And a lot of the way that Loyan is playing actually kind of like gives me throwbacks to when Kanavi was playing really well, when it is still mostly focused on himself. Like, he's definitely playing more for his camps and his leads and things like that, but he's at least enabling his lanes, I think, like the threshold that you need to be able to get by. And Kanavi being the other one, I think I kind of lean more towards Lien, which I find funny. But yeah, I think we kind of hit on Kanavi earlier with the JDG discussion. I feel like the fact that Kanavi has a team that's playing around him, you just see Kanavi do what he's always been good at. I think Kanavi has always been, but before was always the best team fighting jungler in the LPL, in my opinion. I think Lien, Kanavi right now, I'm kind of undecided on that one. Still very good at finding his own leads. I think JDG have a solid system that he like follows pretty consistently in terms of, again, kind of like set up 369 early, but then play heavily around that bot side, play around those dragons. You could see that's working out for them so well. So I'm not sure. I'm completely torn on these two. And yeah, Rob, where you going?
So I was kind of caught between the three. I will say Lien wasn't on my list, but also just because I never really considered Rare Adam. That was basically it. Not even just the
It's
so
it's so weird.
So like for me, it was Karthus and Kanavi that were the two that are in my head. And again, I do kind of agree with what Lyric's saying, is that V5 are very, very messy in the way that they play. But I also think that like that's kind of given Karthus a little bit of an opportunity to shine to a certain extent as well, where it's like, I mean, we've seen him bring out some wacky, crazy picks, like the Skarner has been absolute nuts. Man. We brought out the Vi.
And he just oppresses people, man. Like, he literally forces you to play his style. I gotta
say, the Vi was a little bit oppressive towards himself as well. It
was take some of your leaves.
I think with the Sejuani, I think the game he had against BLG, I want to say, could be wrong with that, but I think he looks really good on, like, and I think
He's played Sejuani twice, right? I think he had one good game, and I think
did he? Okay, whatever. It's the one where he picks up like the double kill off of the Rift Herald fight by like launch himself.
The one where he was good.
The wall of the pit into Tribush, but but I think I don't see V5's mid game going well without Karthus. Like, I don't think Rich can play as aggressive as he does unless Karthus is kind of like going and getting the vision control that he's able to set up. I don't see them being able to make these picks happen unless Karthus is like actually getting that vision and working with Rookie to get it. And I think as well, and I think this is definitely like skewing my perspective of Karthus a bit. I think Rookie and Karthus are just so on the same page. But it's not that they're good. Like, don't get me wrong, they are very, very good. But it's the fact that they almost don't need to communicate and they just do the exact same thing. It's almost like they've been playing together for years. They just think the same way. And I think that's why they end up looking so good, is like, I've seen times where, I can't remember what game it was, but it was like Rookie was on Syndra, Karthus was on Lee Sin. There was a Blanc that tried to find a flank, and both Karthus and Rookie, like, I don't know if they said words to each other, but just knew. They didn't join the fight. They both just walked around, and the Blanc tried to come in. They just picked him off straight away. And the Blanc then again tried to come into another fight in mid lane, and Karthus and Rookie are just waiting in the bush, timed perfectly with spells. So I definitely think my perspective of Karthus is slightly skewed because of how good Rookie is. And I think that's something that happens a lot with jungle as well. Is like, you'll see junglers that you're like, oh, they're absolutely insane, and then they just join a different team, and because the team isn't really functioning for them, it doesn't work. And I think
Tarzan's a good example of that, right? I don't think Tarzan's just bad now. It's just LNG sucks, so how can you see Tarzan's good?
It's the exact same conversation with Kanavi, right? Like, Kanavi 2021 summer, we're like, this guy sucks. What are you doing? You're invading. You have nobody with you. This is a terrible idea. And literally you're just like, the same stuff you gave out to him for in 2021 is now the stuff we're praising him for in 2022, just because you've got Missing and Hope that are there. That's the only difference here. So that's where, like, I find it kind of hard to separate jungle from the rest, but I think that's always the problem with this conversation, is you never get to separate a jungle from their laners. It, like, jungle is so much about how your laners can set you up and you set them up, right? So I'm going to lean towards Kanavi, because I'm kind of glad just to see Kanavi coming back. And also today's game, I think I always get a bit worried when I see this very easy system, because I think it can get broken very easy. When you talk about play towards 369, invade on bot side with Hope's push and Missing coming across, that becomes a very easy system to prepare for. And in a best of 5, especially looks in the playoffs, that's going to fall apart. But playing today's game against TT, we kind of saw them mix it up again. Now, it is against TT. How much do you take away from that? But like playing around 369 in the Graves, getting him super fed, actually looking to try and like swap up where they were putting pressure on the map and how they're able to play with that. I think Kanavi did quite well. So that's where I'm kind of like, okay, I think Kanavi has more to show. This is just how JDG are starting to get in, and I think Kanavi's still an insane carry for this team.
Look,
So for our all team, we're going with Kanavi?
I was going to say, I have to say this first to the fans. Fans who respect great jungling, Mazel will not pick Lian because Mazel picks people based off name recognition, value, and popularity.
Oh, and narrative.
So
narrative.
we narrative as well. So we are absolutely screwed. So take it away, Mazel.
Yes, you are. You are. Yeah, I guess we'll just go ahead and give it to Kanavi. I mean, both you guys had some interesting takes on it. I still think that combo of rookie,
if it was mid-jungle, right? If it's mid-jungle, no doubt they win.
Exactly. But it's about the holistic aspect. I have been one to see the bright side of Kanavi a lot in the past, and having seen last year not be the most exciting for him as well, and great. It is really nice to see like this is kind of that playing style.
Can I
of
also
aggressive
just say
jungler
this is what upsets me a little bit about these All-Star conversations. Like this just becomes who's best in role. I actually want a conversation at some stage about, and this is not because this would take hours to get through,
best synergy
as to what's actually the best team with unlimited budget that you could make in the LPL. Because I think that's a much better conversation about like, hey, look, if we could have Carson, Rookie,
I think so
okay,
too.
cool. Now we got our mid laner we want to play around. Do we then have like a Viper in the bot lane? Cool, there's our lanes. Now I don't want to carry in the top lane. I don't want someone who's going to take resources.
Wait. I got this. I can actually just nail this down really quickly. PB got in bot lane. Y4, 80 carry. Mull in mid. Way in jungle. And the one change I will make, get BB out of top lane. Get BB. I don't care. I don't even care who you put in top lane. Just get 2020 BB out.
My cheeks are hurting too much now, but we do got to move on for this conversation. I want to give a huge shout out to you guys for helping me break down this first team All-Pro of the LPL in the Last Hit Awards. So in the top lane, we decided on the Shy from Weibo Gaming. In the jungle, JDG's Kanavi taking out that all-team pro spot. In the mid lane, we got V5's Rookie coming up big in huge plays, huge playmaking opportunities through the mid lane. In the bot lane, we got EDG's a Viper. And to round it out as his duo, RNG's Ming. So what a stack team we have going on here in the LPL All Team. I don't know what
Sorry, I was trying to figure out where my plushie was, but I've realized it's up above me, and I'm a little bit worried about like stretching up above me with the camera this close to me. So I was like, yeah,
probably
let's not.
But huge shout outs to these guys, right? It's such a hard conversation, and obviously it's not always going to be perfect.
I hate this conversation. It's horrible, dude.
Yeah, but it's always fun to have, right? And it's
not fun. It's not fun.
It is fun. I'm going to force you to have fun. All right.
I don't want to pick between these people. There's so many great ones. Like
you don't understand. The LPL players are Lyric's children. And you were asking him to pick between his favorite children.
And you were asking him to choose.
I don't want to pick, dude.
Sometimes it's a tough life. All right,
I love Rookie and Xiaohu and Knight. Don't make me pick.
Now, we got to choose 5, but now to make it even harder and force you to choose one single child of yours, Lyric, let's go ahead and open up the MVP conversation here as our last little bit, because it is a huge conversation. It's overarching. I want to try and keep it kind of short and sweet, just get general thoughts from you guys, and we'll break down who we think deserves that MVP. And I want to immediately shout out the kind of conversation that you were talking about earlier, and Xiaohu for RNG, because we see how this guy is so integral. Right? For MVP, what it means to me is you cannot win the game. You cannot be a successful team without this player. He is literally how you are winning the game, and he has maybe even 80% of an input on how this is working out. I feel like Xiaohu fits that mold.
I feel like when we frame it like that, it still becomes hard, because I feel like the conversation shifts from, I don't know, Rookie's still in there as well, but like even Knight kind of like inches up more when you're like, team does not win without them. It's like, man, this top esports win without Knight.
I'm going to save you from this, Lyric, because I actually think the difference maker here is like how much the team is impacted. I suppose that's maybe not the right wording, but like how much of the team is decided around that person. And for me, that is Xiaohu. Like when I watch an RNG game, everything that RNG do on the map is dictated by Xiaohu. And like when I look at V5, Rookie I think is the best player that we have in the LPL right now. And this is where I'm making the differentiation. I think Rookie's the best player that we have in the LPL. The dude is absolutely insane. Mechanically, he's a god. Laning phase, he's a beast. He is hard carrying V5. But do I see V5 actively change their entire playstyle around what Rookie's playing? No. And that's where I think the difference is with Xiao, who is like, if Xiaohu's on Corki, they are doing absolutely nothing until we actually get towards an objective, we have package up, and then they're going to go towards Riftchild. If Xiaohu's on something that can go in Roam, suddenly we're playing way more proactive in the early stages. Waves linking up, we're moving, we're like, everything is moving in tandem. Like, and I think that's where the difference maker is for me, why Xiaohu would be my MVP for the split, because although I don't think he necessarily is the best mechanically, I think without Xiaohu, that's not
I gotta
RNG.
say, Xiaohu's Vex better than
Oh yeah,
Rookie's.
Xiaohu is the best
Throwing that
Vex,
out there.
but on the counter side,
There you
Rookie's
go.
the best Orianna. You know, like we can go back and forth
Yeah,
between
in the
these.
world,
Hey.
in the
Yeah.
world,
Hey,
in the
yeah.
whole world.
In
this-
the world.
But
this is-
I
this is
actually, real quick, I like that you make that distinction because I agree. I like that you put it the way, like, does this player warp the play style? Because
Me
I feel like
too.
even Knight, even though I think top esports would probably fail more without Knight than RNG would without Xiaohu, right? Knight doesn't necessarily warp their play style. He's just insanely clutch. But even just looking at like how they played last year, this year, right? It's so obvious how literally everything is dictated by what this man can do, what his pick is. Heck, even when he played Lucian this split, I remember they lost, but they went back to the playstyle of last year. They went back to the whole, again, commit Xiaohu purely to the side lane, and it literally looked like 2021 RNG. It was crazy.
But I want to open that conversation up a little. And we're holistically focusing at this point on mid lane. Is that what we truly think is the MVP?
100%.
I mean, we've seen such a resurgence with ADCs in the bot lane. No conversation there. It is literally
Mazel,
these three guys that are choosing out.
Mazel, do you want to open up the can of worms that Minox gave you last week? Which Dagda
Nope.
last week we had about 40 minutes of our episode complaining about Jinx. No lie.
I heckin' love Arcane.
Dude, I still no wait, just real quick. We have to go down this tangent. There was one part where Mazel asks something about mid laners, and then Ox is like, "Wait, real quick, Lyric, who is there any Jinx LPL AD carry who can't win on Jinx?" It's like, man, he just wanted us to flame people out of nowhere. 40 minutes of Jinx, so no Mazel, no bot laners, no AD
Yeah, I
carries.
genuinely
All
believe
right,
that,
all right.
like, in the current meta, this game is not decided by a bot laner. Like, that's just the way it is. And, I mean, the very big point of that is, if it was, EDG would be top of the table. Because if Viper was able to actually hard carry these games, EDG would be very front and center first. The fact is, mid laners are the ones that actually hard carry this game. And it is, I do feel like you have the ability as a mid laner right now to 1v9. And it's been a long time since I felt like you've actually had that ability. But when I look at like Rookie, when I look at Knight, when I look at Xiaohu, these are guys that are legitimately 1v9 in their games. And that's where the difference is.
I want to add, like, I agree and disagree. Like, I agree with you, but I think I only agree because I do feel like the level of play is also still kind of bad. You know what I mean? Like, my God.
Lyric with the true flame.
I don't know what it is, because I feel like usually the league starts shoring up by now, which some teams have, right? Again, like V5 look good, RNG look good, but there's still, like, EDG, LNG, even TS, who are on a 6-series win streak, you watch their series, and, like, my God, TS are not a convincing 6-series win streak team whatsoever. There's just so many...
Let's see.
So many teams right now. Even the rookie play, even the 2-man Shockwave, which was so sick after him sidestepping, like, I'm just like, why did you guys walk back in here? What are you doing? You know what I mean? Like,
well,
I do feel like mid laners can 1v9 in the LPL because they are absolutely god-level players beyond belief, but I don't know. The level right now is shocking.
The thing for me is, like, I'm going to take some of the champions that have been drifting out of the meta out of the equation, but, like, Rise, I don't see as a 1v9. Victor, if you are fed and you can actually carry, you can just entirely blow up a team. Like, no problem whatsoever.
Yep.
If you're an Orianna, you get a good shockwave. You entirely blow up a team. You win that fight just solely off that pick. Vex, massive Shadow Surge into AoE stun, and you're like 3/4 health, if not absolutely murder people just off of that. You win the team fight. Ari, similar story. Even though she feels like she's kind of like just the kind of jump in, like her AoE damage and the ability to be safe, and the healing that she gets off of her passive as well means that she just gets to stay in fights forever, and she 1v.
If only LPL players can build her correctly, though.
Akali, a champion that can 100% 1v9. Like, these are our top played at the moment. Apart from, like, there's a few that are there. They're like Galio, Twisted Fate, LeBlanc, and then Rise. Like, these are champions where I'm like, not so much. But when you actually look at her, like, those are champions that I think, yeah, if you are fed, you will just 1v9. And that's not a LPL playing poorly thing. That's just these champions hurt. They hit like a truck.
Dagda,
Yep,
I
exactly.
raise you your 5 champions, which I actually don't think that I agree with most of your lists. I think Vex is the one I don't. I think when he plays at 1v9,
put Xiaohu on Vex and tell me he's not going to 1v9 that game. Really? I've seen like too many Shadow Surges into that like backline just blow them up, where I'm just like, he just murders them. Like, they're just done.
I just think Vex is the type of champion that if your team falls behind, therefore you are behind, it feels so hard to impact the game.
Fair.
But point is, right, you just named 5 champions where you can 1v9. But I raise you one top lane champion that is worth 100 champions, named Gwen.
I raise you
Gwen
Jace.
So we've gotten kind of away from the original
Mazel,
conversation and
your
start talking about
fault, Mazel.
champions. But, no, it's not. You guys just go on
Mazel, wait.
But
I
it
gotta bring
all
us back
actually-
because
all right,
you
what do
asked
got? What do you
us, is it really about mid lane? Which was an obvious answer.
We're
Of
talking
course-
about
Of course
players.
it's about mid lane. Of course it's about mid lane. We have Xiaohu, Rookie, Knight, Fofo, Angel.
Yeah.
It's about mid lane, Mazel.
It is about mid lane. No, but I mean, it was a fun conversation to have. Just memeing you guys. The actual end point of it, though, is mid lane so important. Xiaohu, vitally important to RNG, and I do believe he deserves to have that MVP award from the last hit here, as we are very prestigious. And so he will be our MVP, at least for us, in the way that we think of it for the split, because it's been incredible to watch this guy, right? Going from mid lane to top lane. Going from top lane to mid lane and keeping consistency, keeping the feel of RNG success with his name.
Honestly,
it's
from
been
the
an
LPL
impressive
rulebook,
one.
he should probably get a rookie this split as well for that,
Oh no. He just gets all the awards. It's fine. So I do want to recap here, as we're going to be ending up the episode very shortly. We did have our couple big awards we wanted to give out at the end of the day. It is the LPL All-Star Team, which we did choose the Shy, Kanavi, Rookie, Viper, and Ming to be our representatives for that one. And the MVP of the split, Xiaohu from RNG. And fellas, it's been a fun one. Unfortunately, this is the last hit awards on the last episode of the last hit in the regular season. So it's been an absolute pleasure being here all season long with you guys, having our interchanging guests. Got to have a huge shout out to Lyric, my constant co-host, Dagda for coming on for so many episodes, Asheen for subbing in as a host at one point, as well as Ox being also present and coming in and rotating with you, Dagda. It's been a pleasure to get to have these conversations with you guys. I don't know if you have anything to say for the last little bit here.
Continue.
All right, well, I'm just going to say
go.
playoffs are going to be a banger. I want to curse so badly on this statement, but I'm not going to. I have no breeze as to what way this is going to work out. Like, our playoffs look nuts. V5, I thought were great. Suddenly, JDG, smash them. LNG were doing well. EDG were doing well. They both look trash. I have no goddamn clue what's about to happen in playoffs, and I love it.
That's the beauty of it. Crazy is our game for a reason in the LPL. But again, like I said, this has been March the 11th, the 5th day of week number 8. It has been the last episode of the regular split here in 2022 of the LPL spring. It's been an absolute pleasure all along. Thank you all for tuning in to us. Make sure you stay tuned, though, because we will have some playoff content coming up at you as soon as the playoffs do kick off for the LPL later on. Make sure for all updates, all game knowledge, all content, you go follow at LPL English on Twitter, and go look at the YouTube at youtube.com/LPL official as well. And we'll see you next time on the next episode of The Last Hit.